Welcome everyone to my channel. If you haven't been here before, pull up a seat, sit down. We are going to talk about, wow, that is really bright. Bleach by Tite Kubo. This is a masterpiece that was overshadowed by Naruto and One Piece, and I will tell you right now that I can't wait to be able to sit there and watch Thousand Blood War because, I know it's out, but I haven't watched none of it, and I'm like so disappointed in myself that I can't wait to find my way to get my hands on the anime of it in DVD format so I can watch it and read the volumes to it. I have 1 through 5 currently, so I can't wait to have all 74 volumes. This is volume 1, Strawberry and the Soul Reapers. Okay. Kurosaki Ichigo has always been able to see ghosts, but this ability doesn't change his life nearly as much as his close encounter with Kuchiki Rukia. I always trip over her name. A Soul Reaper and a member of the mysterious Soul Society. While fighting a hollow, an evil spirit that preys on humans who display psychic energy, Rukia attempts to lend Ichigo some of her power so that he can save his family, but much to her surprise, Ichigo absorbs every last ounce of it. Now, a full-fledged Soul Reaper himself, Ichigo quickly learns that the world he inhabits is one full of dangerous spirits, and along with Rukia, who is slowly regaining her powers, it's Ichigo's job to protect the innocent from hollows and help the spirits find themselves. So, he literally can see spirits from the very beginning. He's been able to see them his entire life, and in the very beginning, you were introduced to him beating the shit out of some dudes who knocked over a little glass bottle that was just had flowers in it and water for a little dead girl who had died at that corner. He's like, I'll get you some more flowers. Don't worry about it. And she's like, oh, thank you for taking care of them for me. Now I can rest easy. He can't sit there and have them move on, but he can sometimes help them move on. But they haunt him for help in their unfinished business. And it's increased lately. As he's grown older, he sees more and more and more of them. And they get attracted to him. And he doesn't understand why. Rukia finds out why. But he doesn't at first. And it's a little wild of a ride, okay? It's a wild ride. So, like it says in there, a hollow tracks him down because of his spiritual energy. He has a lot of it. It doesn't go nowhere because he doesn't have the perception to use spiritual energy right now. So he's got a lot of spiritual power within him and is attracting this giant ass hollow that attacks his home, hurts his dad, hurts his twin sisters, Yuzu and Karin, and he sits there and tries to go after this thing himself. At first, before he knows what's going on, he's been bound by Rukia because Rukia comes into his house as a butterfly at first and then appears as a, human, and he literally kicks her in the head for ignoring him and saying, how's this about close? And she binds him and then explains Soul Society, Soul Reapers, and how they have to sit there perform Konsu, which is to let good spirits go to Soul Society and to cleanse and release hollows. She doesn't go into too much depth at first about hollows, but you learn that hollows were once humans who were either eaten by other hollows because they're souls, or their soul became so corrupted that they became hollows themselves. And the only way to cleanse their souls is to defeat them with a Zanbakuto, which is basically an extension of a Soul Reaper's powers in a manifested form. So while he's being restrained, he finds his sister who comes up, Yuzu, who is badly hurt. She can blurrily see them, and Karin can see them, but she's in denial. She doesn't believe they exist, even though she can see them. She says, as long as I don't believe they exist, they don't exist. And he's like, I have to help my family. I have to. And they're like, run, Ichigo, run. Or is it Karin? One of them. And so he sits there and literally breaks this binding that's on him. It's a keto, and he breaks it with his own spiritual powers and goes rushing off with a baseball bat down to sit there and fight this hollow. Rukia comes in, knocks it over, and she says, "You idiot, you can't do nothing. You don't have any spiritual weapons." And so he's like, "I don't care. It can have me." Of course, it had Karin, so he was trying to do something. When he grabbed Karin, Karin was like, "Ichigo, run." So while they're being injured, they still think about Ichigo. And Ichigo's like, "What kind of big brother would I be if I left them?" So when Rukia gets injured protecting him while he's trying to give up his soul, saying, "You idiot, they'll just devour everybody here after they devour your soul because they won't stop." She's like, "You can become a soul reaper by taking some of my powers to defeat him." He's like, "Alright, I'll do it. I'll become a soul reaper to defend my family." So he does, and he's got this giant ass sword that represents his spiritual power. And she finally realizes that the reason why her senses were dulled when she went into his room was because of all his spiritual energy that was so heavily saturated in his room. Her senses. So she couldn't sense anything outside of his room. But he still could. Obviously, it's his spiritual energy. He can't sense it at all. So he literally defeats this monster. And then the next day, he wakes up and finds out that his family doesn't remember what happened because she used this little device to make them forget. And that she held up all their powers. So they think a car ran into their home, but that's not really what happened. And then he goes to school, and there she is. His new classmate. He sits there and goes to talk with her, and she's like, "You have to do my job." Okay? He's like, "Nope, not going to." And so she leads him off to this other place. It's park, and after putting him out into his soul form with a glove, she's like, "Okay." She's like, "Do any spirits come here?" And he's like, "Yeah, a little boy. I've talked to him sometimes, played with him a little bit." She's like, "Oh." And then, Hollow's attack. And she's like, "Do not help him unless you're willing to help every soul you possibly can, regardless if you know them or not, regardless if you are there in their face or not." And he's like, "For now," saving the little boy, "For now, I will be the Soul Reaper, because I owe you a large debt, and I'm not going to forget that." You also meet in this his crazy-ass friends. Two of which actually become people who know about Soul Society, and the other two who don't learn about Soul Society until, like, the very fucking end. It's a little hilarious. Okay, let's see. You meet Inoue, Orihime, and Tatsuki. You meet Mizuru down here, which is friggin' hilarious. There's also Keigo. Where's Keigo? Tatsuki, Mizuri, and Keigo all don't learn about Soul Society, Soul Reapers, or any of that stuff until, like, right before the Thousand Blood War happens. So there is, of course, that. Orihime, since was attacked by her brother and her soul was removed from her body, has been able to see stuff and train because she has these little pins on the side of her hair that she got from her brother that at first she didn't like, but she's always kept because it reminded her of her brother and her loneliness because of it. And he died 3 years ago, leaving her alone. You learn that his parents was abusive and she was born when he was 15. So when he turned 18, he literally took his child and left because he wanted to protect her from their abusive parents. So, yeah. Also, this girl, I don't remember her name, she's totally in love with Orihime, and this girl, like, totally supports her in that. It's really weird. Hold up. Where is the next one? Ah. That dude's Kago. And the other person who finds out about the spiritual world is Chad. He's more sensitive to it as well. He's actually like a tank. He has an I-beam land on him, and he just walks. And he sits there and gets injured, and he's just like still there. He's like a tank. And Orihime is more like a healer, a defense person. And it's because, her brother, who became a hollow after she stopped praying to him and everything, sat there and tried to kill her for it. And in the end, he actually regretted his decision because he saw the things on her face. And so he breaks off his own mask and he's like, I need to go now before I do something that I will regret. And she's like, I never got to tell him to have a nice day as he was leaving work because I was angry at him the night before because she had really short, terrible hair that she grew out for him. So it's really sad. That is. Of course, she doesn't remember it. The next day, she thinks a Yazuku gunman totally came in. Now, the next part is about Chad. So, Chad gets his parakeet that can talk, which is a little funny. But his name is Yuichi Shibata, and he's just a parakeet, and every owner he's ever had has died. And so far, Chad has lived, but Chad comes in with a very bad mark on his back, which is from a hollow that Ichigo and Rukia felt. But he, of course, leaves because the Kurosakis own a clinic. His father runs a clinic to help people. So he was brought there for that injury to be helped. And then he just disappears from their clinic. Because the clinic's part of their house. It's like, here's their clinic and here's their house. Like, right next door to it. So they don't have to go very far for it, which is really interesting. So with this done, my favorite character is, of course, Kurota. He's my favorite character. Kurosaki Ichigo. Like, my number one, okay? He's not my number one. He's like one of my book boyfriends. Okay? He's 18 by the time, 19, 18. 18 by the time that series ended. And I was 15 when I started watching this, so you can't judge me. Right now, he's 30-something years old. He is my manga husband, okay? Just like Sung Jin Woo is my manga husband. My manhwa husband. Sung Jin Woo is my manhwa husband. And he's old, okay? He's like 30, 40 years old, okay? Okay, just leave it alone, okay? By the end of the manga, he's like in his 30s because he's got a son. Okay? My most disliked character. I really don't have one in this one. Because they don't really have anything besides hollows, I guess. Orihime's brother, for wallowing in his own misery and his own sadness, and didn't realize that his sister decided that he shouldn't see her sadness, that he should only see her happiness, that she's happy. What stood out as memorable? Ichigo might act like he's got a tough heart and he don't care for nothing, but he is so for the ghosts. He is so for the innocent ghosts. He's so for saving them. so for protecting them, being a hero to them, so for protecting Rukia and all the people that he comes to love, and all those that matter to him, to the point where he protects the fucking world. That's the kind of guy he is. Okay, yeah. There's no favorite passage, and I guess there is really no favorite quote. I guess I could put it in here. Maybe there is a favorite passage. It's a very short passage, though. This right here. It says, Ichigo Strawberry Kurosaki, 15 years old, hair orange, eyes brown, occupation, high school student / soul reaper. And we'll pick, because, no, it went too far. I know I owe you a large debt, and I'm not a total scumbag. I'll help you out with this soul reaper job of yours, but I won't enjoy it. I mean, I don't think he really does get a chance to enjoy it too much, because he lurches from one trouble after the next. Like, you think this hits it off, it doesn't. He literally, like, I think in, like, what? Fucking volume 6 or 7, it literally kicks off to a lot more trouble that he has to get in, he has to sit there and fight through. What I thought about the ending of this book, like, there's a cliffhanger here because Chad's disappeared from his room with his parakeet, and he's got this mysterious injuries that he's been getting for the last 3 days for some reason, but of course he's still very much alive, but he's very protective of his parakeet for some reason. What book did it remind me of? Now, this here reminds me a little bit of Yu Yu Hakusho. They came out generally around the same time. Two punks who have a heart of gold. So, yeah. This book is usually part of a series called Bleach. There's 74 volumes of this, and I can't wait to collect all of them. I can't. I rate this a 5. Bleach is like a 5. The whole series is like a 5. Might be one spot where there's like a 4 because of Ishida, but we'll get into Ishida when we get to Ishida and the volumes, okay? We'll get into it when we get into it. So if you guys think this was over, like, comment, everything, a lovely subscription, why don't you go ahead and drop it down below. I will see you next illusion.